Alright, this is the Health and Human Services Agency North Central Regional Center. And this is literally where I was gaslighted yesterday. Organized gangstalking tactics. Gaslighting is a terminology that describes where they engage in specific behaviors in order to fuel and ignite the mental and neural responses of the individual that they're gaslighting. It's harassment. And I experienced it yesterday by their security and by people coming in behaving as clients and prospective clients, literally. And I believe that all you have to do is go to Google, type in organized gangstalking or organized stalking and social services, and then in a separate search, type in organized gangstalking and social services workers. If you get more than 10 responses, something's going on. San Diego, California, this is a tidbit of information in reference to this expedition that's happening towards me in San Diego, California. And they're designed to call the target crazy when they expose it or complain about it. That's literally the motivation behind it, because it's organized crime within the system. And what they do is target people on disability, to go after them in order to take legal custody of their checks, their monthly checks, to exploit their Medicare, and then to exploit the target sexually in a syndicated run, organized crime group home. It's organized crime in the system. Now, if you don't believe what I'm saying, I think that you should take a look at the individual that held four mentally, excuse me for smoking, but you can go to Google and type in 4 mentally disabled individuals kept in a basement in Philadelphia for 10 full years. That woman had power of attorney over each one of them. All 4 of them were on disability. And she had a felony on her record for murder. How does somebody like that get legal custody of 4 mentally disabled people? Because she was granted custody by the organized syndicated crime members that are in the system. Probate lawyers, probate judges. Go to Google, type in Pennsylvania judge sentenced to 28 years for sentencing first-time misdemeanor children to the full maximum sentence in detention centers. That's because every time he sentenced a child into this detention center, the detention center in turn would apply for federal funds per child. And every time they receive federal funds per child, they kick back a portion of those federal funds that were received back to the judge. This is how they operate. Now, that woman that was holding the 4 mentally disabled people in a basement for 10 years, she had the identification cards of 50 other people on disability. Now, it's all over the internet that they go after single women, single mothers, people on disability, including veterans, which burns my ass, because these guys went out and fought for us, okay, and they come home, and as a result of either being wounded on the battlefield or coming home with with the effects of war, they get on disability, and then they target them and break their lives down, their personal lives down, so they can gain custody of them to put them in a syndicated run group home, where they then are also tormented day and night, where staged incidences happen towards them. They're staged, and this is done in order to blame the target for the incident they stage. Then they accuse the target of being out of control as a result of the target reacting to the incident they're staging. And then since they got legal custody of them, they say, you got to go into the hospital to get medication because you're out of control. And this is in turn where they'll book the Medicare out of hundreds of thousands of dollars by repeating these incidences in these homes deliberately in order to make it look like the target, and in order to make it look like they have a legitimate appearing reason to petition the target into the hospital. Yeah. So they can then also cleverly be diagnosed with all types of mental disorders in order to make it look like the bilking of the Medicare was done legitimately. Then once the Medicare is bilked, the money that comes in from that gets kicked back to all the participating partners. It's flat out, literally nothing but organized crime in a system where they're going into these HUD offices, Department of Housing and Urban Development, and they're buying up all these houses that were taken over from the mortgage crisis. And they're going in and they're buying them through very cheap rates from the city, and setting up these group homes. And what they do is they do nothing but they'll get through the state. They had these training services to where they train people for like 6 to 8 weeks to maybe 2 months on how to take care of people with disability. They give them a bullshit certificate and then hire them to place in these homes. And these are part of the people that engage in the organized gangstalking staged incidences towards targets in these homes once they're trapped. Then they sexually exploit the targets in these homes as well, including by drugging their food. And once they're knocked out, they literally bring people in to have sex with the target when they're knocked out. Yes, money off of every angle. And they're also into research, literally. And if you don't believe this aspect of it, I strongly suggest you go to Google and type in a Gangstalking Tech, everything you need to know. It's a manifesto of a manager of organized gangstalking crews. He even flat out says that what he is involved in is what is known as gangstalking. And research is mentioned throughout the whole entire manifesto. Doctors, lawyers, police officers, judges, firefighters, fire department EMS, because they're needed to pipeline the targets to the hospital when they're needed. You would not believe what I know. And they're targeting me because I'm on disability. Okay? There's money off. It's literally nothing but flat out literal torture for money. And I expose these crimes so people become aware of what's happening in our community towards innocent human beings. Flat out torture for money. Okay? I gotta go. I'm in San Diego, California. Today's date is July 19, 2012. And who do we got here? I strongly suggest you go to Google and type in organized stalking or gang stalking and fire truck siren harassment or police siren harassment. Vic Livingston did an article on that, on how that's attached to organized gang stalking. Because the whole goal is to see what they do is they literally tear down a target's life. They'll get landlords on board to evict the target. They'll steal their rent, even rent that's mailed, certified mail return receipt. There's a target right now in San Diego. Her name is Sylvia L. Morellis. And you can go to YouTube and find her by typing in Gangstalking in San Diego. She flat out states they stole her credit card payments that were mailed certified mail return receipt. That's how they stole my rent. Literally. Because the whole goal is to make targets homeless and then claim the target can't take care of themselves as a result of being homeless. This is one of the conduits they use in order to pipeline the target before a syndicated probate judge and attorney to then petition the state to take legal custody of them, to take over their finances, to exploit their insurance, and then to exploit the targets sexually. And this is how they operate. It's all protected by the syndicated organized crime police officers that are involved, who will happily file a false police report about a target after a staged incident is created towards the target along a target's route. Because it's the accumulated documentation between the police reports, the fire department EMS, and the doctor's reports is how they gain the legal custody to begin with. And I strongly suggest you Google taillights, white trucks, and gang stalking. Yeah, you keep looking, you jive bitch.
You got an extra cigarette, do you?
Not for you.
Alright.
Have a nice day.
Yeah, you do the same.
I will.
I always do.
Nice.
One doesn't stop.
Neither do license plate numbers. That was one right there. Google organized gang stalking and taillights, and then organized gang stalking and white trucks. He pulled through just so I'd notice them. Literally, right here at the Department of Human Services, where I was literally subject to 2 organized gang stalking tactics yesterday that I caught on video and audio. I gotta go. I'm in San Diego, California. My name is Leslie Williams. Today's date is July 19th, 2012. Thank you.